Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. And this is It's Clobbering Time, and this is the ghost that was formerly known as Marcus Kellergrew. I don't know where he went during the music, but I swear he was here at one point. And this is It's Clobbering Time, and tonight we're going to talk about who's the best archer in comics. And the Phoenix Press already says that the best archer is clearly Sterling Archer. Now, I guess I wasn't. He found a loophole. The best archer. So I was thinking like who is like the most competent, but you can make it the best as far as who you like best. It's it's all fun. Hey, we got my buddy.
Refill my coffee in my official streaming mug.
Dave is one of my players in my Village Vigilantes character. I only killed this character once, contrary to a popular belief. But Dave, in your defense, you did split the party. So there we go. So again, this is an open invite. If anybody wants to come in, have your camera on, unless I know you very well, because that just reduces shenanigans. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Here is Fund My Comic, Rogue Tales 2. You know what's weird, Marcus? I had 2 sales today. I haven't had sales in like a month, and then today 2 sales.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I was looking for your merch stream, and I couldn't on Fund My Comic. The merch thing.
It's not up. It's still being edited.
Oh, okay. I thought it was up.
I thought it was up, and I put out the link. So if anybody clicked on the link, it's not up yet because when I logged into Fund My Comic, all of my campaigns showed up. So I just, it's live, but it's not ready to be live. I'm still editing it. So I was like, all right, I guess it's live, but it wasn't. It was my old man eyes making mistakes as per usual.
You do okay.
And Tony Grigo says, hey, John, you coming in tonight, Tony? You coming in? You're like the, 1/3 of the show now.
I know. Really, my wife goes, you really have to stream that late? I go, well, I feel like I'm the part of the show. I mean,
well, I don't want to keep anybody up late, and they keep dangling the normal shift back.
I don't know, but you make extra money on the shift you're on. I mean, what you're not making money on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm making extra money on the shift I'm on, so it more than makes up for any losses on YouTube.
Oh, I forgot to take off my glove.
But I don't feel like I have a life. You know what I mean? Like I wake up, my wife already went to work. So and then I come home. She usually has dinner waiting for me, and we have a rush dinner because 3 or 4 nights a week I'm doing a midnight stream. You know what I mean? So and then she wants to go to bed because she's got to go to work, and then I'm staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning, either writing scripts or doing something stupid, and trying to be quiet, and then I sleep until 12, and then go to work at 1. You know what I mean? The only people I see are the people at work, and they all know we hate each other. No, we don't. We don't.
Well, we all hate each other. It's the internet, John.
No, we all bust each other. If
the internet.
If we were talking, if like I could turn on my camera, you could see the way we all talk to each other. You'd be like,
I know how you talk.
You guys hate each other.
I have an idea.
What?
I'm not in a crew anymore, but I was in a crew for 20 years. I know how it goes.
It's funny because in my crew we got an Irish guy who's a drunk, we got a Jewish guy who's always talking about money. I'm the token Italian, and I'm always talking about food. And we got the black guy. He breaks the stereotype because he is the most wholesome sweetheart of a guy ever. But we like to joke that he's got bitches and hoes. You know what I mean? So we all just do these. It's stereotypes all night long. It's stereotypes.
Yeah. Those jobs are the last jobs where you can actually have testosterone, smoke outside,
Yeah, I'm the only guy who doesn't drink, and I'm the only guy who doesn't smoke. So everybody's taking smoke breaks. And
I have this glove on, and these guys wear it for computers, right? Or they wear it for smudging. And the other page, I just showed you the page, and I had half of it done, but the second panel got so ruined, I did it again. This is what I do.
Do you put paper over it and paste it?
I light box. I was going to just patch it, but I said, the first one could be cleaner and neater, so I just did it again.
You want to hold up that page?
Oh, sure.
Tony, check this out. What is your immediate reaction at checking out this page?
Wow, that is really nice.
Thank you.
Really good. It's beautiful, Marcus.
Thank you.
Who would you compare it to?
I don't know. It's very unique. It's its own thing. Who would you compare it to?
I think it's a mish between Jamie Hernandez, Steve Ditko, and then I saw a lot of Sal Buscema in it also.
Yeah,
I could
Sal
see
Buscema's in the
Yeah, in the crowd.
I tried to make her boobs big enough. They might be too big.
Well,
they're pretty big.
If we hit a stretch goal, they'll be scratch and sniff.
Yeah.
There's
so
no such thing too
people
big.
wear this because they smudge, or the computer, they don't want to smudge and ruin it. I wear it because when I draw, I get a callus on my finger.
Oh,
And
okay.
I hold it like this. If I do it enough, especially with these pens, it drives me crazy. So I know that's apropos of nothing, but that's a little inside baseball for you.
Okay. So,
thank you, DM.
Yeah, DM. He's one of my local friends. Me and him. He's come over a few times, and Dave and I, DM Evanson, we've played the name of the War of the Ring. So I got the deluxe War of the Ring hand painted figures, and then there's a lunatic. I gotta get his name, but he makes ceramic board game pieces, and I'm like, this is the deluxe War of the Ring game. Like, you've seen the size of my board game table. It's too big for that table. It is amazingly huge. So then it was like $200. I bought ceramic board game pieces. So it comes with like a ceramic Minas Tirith and a ceramic Hobbit tree and everything, and Lothlorien. Oh man, I got to set it up just to take pictures of it. And me and Dave, like, we spent an entire weekend playing this game, and then a few times, because it takes like 4 hours to set up the game, I'll just play both sides, and it's like I talk to myself, I'm like,
I should
acting out. What's that?
I have a younger son. They both play board games, but younger son's a bit of a collector, although he has no money now, so I don't know how much he's collecting.
War of the Ring, yeah, right? You got to come over. We got to play again. He played Sauron, and I was the Fellowship.
That's cool.
But which I appreciated, because I'm always Sauron, because I always offer the guest what they want to play.
Oh, that's nice.
And everybody wants to be the Fellowship. Everybody wants to be Aragorn. They want to be Galadriel and everything. So I'm always Sauron. But I will say this: I think it's harder to be the Fellowship in that game, because it's kind of weird the way, because you got to move you got to move Frodo and Bill without the other player knowing, but we're both watching the game. So there's rules of, like, every turn you have a proxy that you move, and it's just so then all the Sauron player knows is, okay, Frodo is 6 spaces away from where he currently is on the board. I was trying to explain it to my wife, but without actually looking at the board game, it makes no sense. Yeah, I'm that kind of annoying guy that explains game rules to my wife while we're in a car on the way to the supermarket, and she just patiently says,
"You're driving," and she gets to fall asleep.
Right? No, well, she's she'll be driving or whatever. She drives her car only, and I drive my car only. So when we go food shopping, we go in her car, and she's just like, "That is great!" Like I'm a little kid, and then the Frodo moves, and then you don't really move Frodo, you move the proxy. But anyway, she's upstairs probably laughing at me. All right, I like to filibuster for 10 minutes. As always, I always like to offer Tony first, because he always digs out some cool Golden Age character that I never knew.
Yes, I looked up some Golden Age characters.
Yeah. So Tony, when I said Greatest Archer, you could take it whatever you want. Your favorite, or who do you think has the best feats, or whatever. So I know you have some cool characters. What do you think?
Well, my pick is going to be boring, but I do want to add 2 archers that people might not know. The first one is the character the Arrow, created by Paul Gustafson in 1938, ties with Superman as being one of the first superheroes ever made. He is the first comic book character to rely on archery as its gimmick. Okay. And he was on the Project Superpowers team, the one with Alex Ross. He's completely in red. He wears like a red hood over his face.
Yeah,
And
I only find it modern pictures of him by Alex Ross.
yeah, he was in Project Superpowers.
Do you know
He's a
what
nice
company
looking
he was
character.
from? Or-
Yeah, he was published originally by Centaur Publications.
Okay, so that should help me.
And he
Centaur,
was
yeah.
essentially, I mean, not much of an origin. He was actually a guy called Ralph Payne, a military intelligence agent who used his archery skills to fight crime. He delivered messages via arrow both to criminals and the police, and uses his bow to kill evildoers. He actually killed people. Yeah, there he is.
Right. Well, it kind of makes sense when you have a bow and arrow that you're killing people.
Yeah,
Like Mike Grell had Oliver Queen killing people, you know, in the
yeah, he was like that. Yeah.
In the Longbow Hunters, right?
So, anyways, he stayed with Centaur until they became public domain. The characters. He was resuscitated twice. Once in the 90s under Malibu Comics, he was part of the Mighty Protectors with a bunch of the other public domain characters like the Black Terror and the Mask and the Green Llama. And then in the early 2000s, I think, when was Project Superpowers?
That's like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date, but yeah.
And that was the second time. None of them stuck. I think he's a great character. He didn't have very many repeat customers because he was a lethal character. He would kill. But I always loved the design of him, the costume, the red, you know, the hood and everything. It was really cool. Now, the second one that predates Green Arrow, that I don't think a lot of people remember either, comes from Fawcett Publications, Fawcett Comics, The Golden Arrow. He appeared in Whiz Comics #2, the issue that introduced Billy Batson, Shazam, Ibis, and the Spy Smasher. And what he was an interesting one. It was like the Lone Ranger. His parents were killed, and then because they were miners, they were gold miners, and he was taken in by a Indian, Native American, that taught him how to use a bow and arrow. And now the original stories seem to primarily take place in the Old West, but he still had quite a few. There he is. First issue of his 6-issue series. After 6 issues, nothing. But he had a lot of crossovers with the various other Fawcett characters like Captain Marvel Jr., Bullet Man, Bullet Girl. He was just like the Lone Ranger. He rode a white horse. He covered his arrow tips with gold leaf, and that's what he would use. He was non-lethal, and because of that, he had a rogues gallery. I'm trying to remember. They weren't too spectacular, but he had repeat villains. He lasted through most of the 40s. Limped into the 50s, and then got eventually acquired by DC when they acquired all of Fawcett.
That's funny. I don't recall DC ever using them. I don't recall DC ever using them. Do you, Marcus?
Golden Arrow. No, there's other Golden Arrows. That,
Marvel, I know Marvel's Golden Arrow or Golden Archer more than I know
Golden Archer.
Yeah.
He made sporadic appearances in the Jerry Ordway Power of Shazam book, as mostly everyone from Fawcett Comics did.
Yeah,
but no,
yeah, you're right.
It's funny because that's my favorite Captain Marvel series, and I don't remember, but that doesn't mean a lot. I don't
well, they were small. Remember, he included people like Ibis, Bullet Man, Bullet Girl, Spy Smasher, Mr. Scarlet, and Pinky, all those weird ones from Fawcett.
Yeah.
So they were like glorified cameos. Now, those two are the biggest ones. The one that I'm going to pick is the most obvious one, my boy, Oliver Queen.
Okay.
I think that Ollie is the best because he's still around after almost 100 years. He outlived the Arrow. He outlived Golden Archer. He outlived them all. And he's had ups and downs. I got into him in the 80s with Mike Grell, in the Longbow Hunters. I love the costume, very reminiscent of the Arrow. There, he did not use trick arrows. He would like shoot people through the hands with arrows and all that. It was really a great run. I then went back up to the 70s and the 60s. I did not like that version of the character. That was pure Denny O'Neil. That was pure left-leaning, insufferable Denny O'Neil stuff that I did not like. I did like him in the early 60s, late 50s when Jack Kirby did like maybe 12-issue run on him. And that was, I liked the original look that he had in the 40s and the early to mid 60s, where he sort of looked just like Robin Hood. It was under O'Neil. There you go. That's my favorite look of the character. It was under Denny O'Neil where he got the Van Dyke, and he got
Neil Adams did that.
But when they were working together, though, right? That's when
he did it with Bob Haney with Brave and Bold.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Two encyclopedias clash. That'll be next week.
So what happened was Bob Haney was writing Brave and Bold before Jim Aparo. Neil Adams had a run on it, and Neil Adams would take the script and say if it was daytime, it was nighttime. So although he still was drawing a short-eared Batman with a brighter colors, he would make it night stories. Neil Adams really started me be night, made a night thing, and then when Green Arrow was supposed to like have his like fourth appearance, he said, "I'm giving a new costume," and nobody says no to Neil Adams, not at DC at that point. And then and Denny O'Neil, they took it from there and decided to have them have the yin and the yang of Green Lantern, Green Arrow. Mm-hmm. I think that Green Lantern's liberalism worked better with Hawkman in the Justice League.
I remember that.
They had Hawkman really stand up to him. Because Hawkman, you know what I mean? He was a real conservative. He wasn't starring in the book, so there was no point to make him wishy-washy like they did.
They were both space cops, him and exactly. Jordan. But, yeah.
Plus, he was this shirtless barbarian. You know what I mean? Like, so I think they kind of poked fun of like, oh, he could be a conservative because they're all a bunch of barbarians.
But people like Hawkman. The oddest thing about like you were saying Green Arrow lived through. That's because Mort Weisinger co-created him, and he kept him going and put him in backup comics and more fun comics. And in Kirby, that was in a backup in Superboy for years. And him and Aquaman just sat there in backups. That's why they lived through the 50s.
He kept them safe from Wortham. He kept them safe from everybody. He was created in 1940 by Mort Weisinger and George Papp. The story is iconic. The origin story is iconic. He is a layabout wastrel of a socialite. He gets Oliver Queen. He gets marooned on an island, and he has to rely on archery skills that he did archery when he was a kid as like a pastime, and he had to sort of rely on that in order to survive. He learned humility on the island. He learned to believe in himself and to grow. He grew as a character. And when he came back to Star City, he decided to hunt criminals with those skills. Now, coincidentally, around that time, he found Roy Harper. Roy Harper was, I'm trying to remember, I think he was raised by Native Americans. I'm not sure. But he had the same archery skills as Oliver, and Oliver took him under his wing, like Bruce Wayne did earlier to Dick Grayson. And then the duo of Green Arrow and Speedy were born. Now, he was a ripoff of Batman. Batman had a Batmobile. The Golden Age Green Arrow had an Arrow car.
Now, let me ask you this. Was this during, like, when he was a ripoff of Batman? Is this when, Marcus likes to bring up that DC was like a bunch of separate companies? So was this like Batman was one branch of the company and Green Arrow was another branch of the company?
No. More Fun Comics was one of the original comic books that DC published. It was a title that was created under Major Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson. It was it was mainstream DC. He was just a ripoff, really. He was just more.
He had an Arrow.
Now he was directly inspired. I don't know if you can find this this image, John, but there was a pulp that was later adapted into a movie called The Green Archer, and it was essentially Green Arrow, and his costume looked like Mike Grell's depiction, I think, of Ollie later on in the 80s in the Longbow Hunters. And that's where Mort Weisinger kind of took a lot out of that. Well, just like, Bill Finger and Bob Kane took a lot from the Bat Whispers, that movie that came out in that silent film. So anyways, he had a Batmobile, Arrow had an Arrow car. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
This is the first thing that popped up. I typed in the Green Archer pulp, and this was the first thing. See, I didn't know this either. Old Dirty Fatty's giving you compliments, you, Marcus, and Tony, because I don't know half the stuff. This is why I watch the show. I learned so much. Me too. That's why I'm glad Marcus and Tony are here, because
many thanks,
Captain Marvel punching Superman in the face, and then Marcus and Tony tell me all the cool behind.
Well, many thanks, Old Dirty Fatty. Anyways, he had an Arrow car. He had an aeroplane. He had like an underground grotto underneath his mansion, and he basically at that time, the closest thing to an arch enemy he had was a character called Bullseye.
That's right.
And he sort of, they were neat stories. They were fun stories. They were just watered down Batman stories. You could almost say that the character got a character from Danny O'Neill, though I would argue he got the worst kind of character.
Well,
he just became
that character before Danny. Mike Friedrich really gave him the liberalism and the justice.
Was he the liberal guy? Yeah, well, whoever it was.
It was the yin and the yang with Hawkman. Danny just kind of took that on. It's just like because what happened in Justice League, like John's reading the Justice League comics, they always said they're cardboard cutouts of characters, and they all the same. Well, at some point in the 60s, about 67, 68, Marvel's kicking their butt, right? Or coming close. I don't think he actually did. And they have to start developing characters. And that happened in the Justice League. So Hawkman became like the barbarian right winger, and the other guy was the liberal guy to give a little spice. And they had ridiculous stories. And I only remember it because of this blog I read who read all those comics. I didn't read all of them. It was all Dick Dillon,
Yeah,
well,
and I think it's really his liberal personality started there.
Well, whoever would do it to him, I did not like reading the back issues of this character. I much preferred the Mike Grell take, which was a lot more serious, a lot more dark, and I didn't like grim and gritty comics. Everyone that knows me from this show knows I am not a fan of the grim and gritty stuff of the 80s, but I did like the Grell run of Green Arrow. I think that he brought him back to basics, and he basically went from being an extreme left winger to being more of a center left. I would say maybe a libertarian.
Almost like he became like a normal guy.
Yeah, and he wasn't pontificating about how white privilege and about inequality in races and economic inequality. He was just a vigilante.
I would dare say that if Danny O'Neill was alive today, they would call him a right-wing, alt-right Nazi. You know what I mean? That's how far left the modern politics has gotten.
I suppose so. I still think Danny O'Neill would probably
be like, I don't think taxes should be lower and the borders should be closed and men are men and women are women. That's all it takes.
I still think
this is supposed to be our getaway from politics.
Oh no, well, I'll just to add on to that in a nice way. My sister is left, but she tries very hard not to be crazy left. But partially it's because she believes women are women and she wants lower taxes. And she deals with real, like we talk about SJW.
Is that your sister that
she deals in the real world with people who ask for safe spaces and all that? She has to hire those people.
I was going to say, because your sister owns a business.
That's right. She has to hire those people. Now she's left and she votes against her business sometimes because of that. But she has to hire these people, and the kids just drive her nuts.
like all these school teachers in New York City that have a job for life that they can't get fired from, and then, they don't have any consequences towards voting, and now this left-wing mayor is raiding their pension fund, and
Oh
all
my
I can
God.
think of is, thank God I got out of teaching, because I would be at the age where I could be retiring, or planning my retirement, because I was in the New York City school system, voting conservative is all get out, having my wishes ignored, and then my pension raided. Oh my God! Let's just say I'd probably be going longbow hunters.
Well, I was going to talk about longbow hunters. I really love that. That was one of Grell's best. I always liked Grell. He had some odd things about him. But did you get the regular series?
Yes,
after?
I always kind of liked Archer superheroes, so
Except he never wore a costume, or they called him Green Arrow or Arrow for until Chuck took over.
Right.
It was the most amazing thing. Yeah.
Well, he wore that like Robin Hood costume that I absolutely loved.
Well,
I did like that costume. Yeah.
After the Crisis on Infinite Earths, they took him away from Star City. They settled him in Seattle.
Right.
And that's when he became, now, if I'm remembering the story, Dinah Lance got assaulted. We're not going to say how because we're on YouTube. And during the assault, they screwed up her vocal cords. So that's where Ollie just decided to put away the politics and to just get back to basics. And it was such a great story. I love the character of Gato, the Japanese Yakuza archer that he created. Now, Ollie is a completely different character to a Golden Age interpretation. Everyone knows this, Earth 1, Earth 2. The closest thing to an arch enemy that Ollie had was Merlin, the magician, Merlin, the dark archer.
Right. He was an archer, so he's another archer that we.
The origin was so strong that it's almost exactly on the TV show. The TV show's origin is almost exactly the same as the comics origin.
I never watched Arrow.
The fourth season was ridiculous, but it was fun. It was kind of a cross between the Grell Arrow and the regular and the Green Arrow, where he was rough. He came back to Star City and he had a list of people that his dad was a bad guy. Found out his dad was a really bad guy. His dad shot him. Well, spoilers, right? Shot himself on the head. He witnessed it. He got stuck on the island. He learned all this stuff. And they merged Deathstroke in there, and Merlin was one of his. They were all DC things until about the fourth. I watched through the fourth season, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, obviously, it's the CW. I mean, it's not for me.
I will say this: I hated Smallville so much that I never.
No, I didn't watch Smallville at all. But this is different. These are different. It's good for the first 2 or 3 seasons until it got woke.
Well, I never watched it. I might give it a shot. Well, anyways, to get back to Merlin, I remember the origin of Merlin so well because I thought it was such a great story. Young Oliver Queen got the archery bug from watching Merlin the magician perform in a circus. He loved the trick shots he was doing, and that was his inspiration to pick up archery. Now, sometime in the past, Merlin became a regular employee of Ra's al Ghul's League of Shadows, or at the time it was called the League of Assassins. And when they met, I forgot which issue of Justice League did Merlin debut, Marcus? Because that was
my head. I have to look it up.
Okay, well, they met, and the thing I loved about Merlin was better than Ollie. Merlin was the only one that could beat Ollie. He was the only one that had more skill with the bow and arrow.
You brought that up because I was just thinking the other day, I forget who I was talking to, but Sinestro was a better Green Lantern than Hal Jordan. That is such a good villain trope that the villain is a little bit better. And it to me, I like that because that forces the hero to either get better or be sneakier. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So anyways, every time they would fight, Merlin would always get the better of him and he would always escape. Now, I don't remember Merlin ever being used by Mike Grell in his run of Green Arrow.
He used like regular human thugs and stuff like that, mobsters. I just want to say I like Longbow Hunters better than Dark Knight Returns, and that was like the two series that everybody compared.
No, I think I did too. Well, I did to a certain extent, yeah.
I just like it because my biggest problem was I know I'm going to catch shit for saying this, but I didn't really like the art in Dark Knight Returns.
No, it was terrible art.
And the way
and Dark Knight Returns or Dark Knight Strikes Again was really bad. I like Dark Knight Returns.
The Dark Knight Returns, I wasn't too crazy about it, and I just didn't like the disrespect towards Superman. But
I didn't like the disrespect towards Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that's true. David Endocrine instead of David Letterman. But nowadays I can't stand David Letterman. But anyway, I like Longbow Hunters because it was realistic, and at that time I really wanted like realism in my comics. Like I keep talking about the Elementals, but the Elementals kind of got me more towards realism. I've gotten over it these days. Like I really enjoyed Silver Age Superman, but at that time, a guy with a bow and arrow shooting people and avenging, it was like a cathartic, I guess. But
anyways, I stayed with the character until they killed him off. I did not like Connor Hawke. And that's the end for me. That's about as far as I could take the Arrow. If Marcus wants to take over for me, I'll let him do it.
Justice League 94, created by Merlin, Mike Friedrich, Neil Adams, and Dick Dillon.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Connor Hawke. I was like, what the hell's going on in DC? They're killing off all the great characters.
That was the 90s when they did those horrible things to everybody.
They always did that stuff because they wanted to have another Green Arrow that wasn't Oliver Queen. If they lose, it happened in the 80s to Marvel when Thor got a new costume, the Hulk turned gray, Spider-Man got a black costume.
Yeah, but
creative guys have to figure it out. I hate the word creatives, by the way. Have to figure it out, but corporate tells them, the lawyers are telling us we just better.
What's funny is I've been talking about how Miles Morales was created to screw the Ditko estate, and it never dawned on me that Connor Hawke was created for the same reason. Because
it was screw the Ditko estate, but if the Ditko estate wins, then they can't use Spider-Man. They have to have a Spider-Man, and they use that excuse to make it a DEI hire.
Right.
Connor Hawke was not a DEI hire, but he was. It's the same thing with the second Green Lantern. And the thing about most of the DC characters are legacy characters anyway. So
I would not have
be replaced.
Go ahead, Tony.
I would not have minded them passing the torch. Right? If they just wrote him and Dinah off to be retired, fine. It's how they did these things. They killed him, and I think in an airplane explosion or something like that.
And then Superman failed to save him.
Yeah, and each one of these things, I remember Aquaman lost his hand. Dr. Fate got shot in the head, and then he melted the helm of fate and turned it into a stupid sword. And all these things, they were just vicious. That's the thing about DC. The one trope that DC has is how vicious
you said that before, and I'm like, okay, Tony's being emotional or whatever. But you're right. They were pretty vicious. The only one that escaped the viciousness was Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Look at what they did to Black Canary. I mean, Mike Grell, at least he gave her back her powers, but I mean, they didn't need to do it like that. You know what I mean?
Not only that, like there's when they get later, like you read Crisis on Infinite Earths, I got that, and Superboy Prime is like blowing people's heads off with his heat vision. Jeff Johns is writing that. Jeff Johns. Yeah. I was on other websites way before the X, and they were like, Jeff Johns always like takes people's arms off, and they're all DC characters. And what they did to Sue Dibney, and
it's horrible.
Thanks to that stuff for their superheroes.
So, anyways, one of the neat alternate versions of Arrow I liked was coincidentally in The Dark Knight Returns, where he was that bitter old man, the one-armed archer, and I loved that. I loved the fact that. But I loved it, but I hated it because I hated the fact that Superman did that to him. But I loved the fact that he was able to overcome that injury and he's still a great archer. Right. Now,
And I love when people like Batman beat Superman in the Dark Knight Returns. I'm like,
yeah, well, kryptonite.
Because Green Arrow hit it with kryptonite. You know,
Exactly.
Batman didn't beat him. Kryptonite beat him. And I keep saying anybody with kryptonite. But the thing is, this just drives me. It's one of my pet peeves. Shouldn't Superman, as soon as he feels he's being affected by kryptonite, take off?
You would think.
You know, fly a mile in the air and then hit it with
in a little bit of defense of Frank Miller. It's an Elseworlds. It wasn't supposed to be DC canon.
Right.
Like, so as an Elseworlds, like, this
when it was published.
But
and
like,
remember,
you know, it's cool.
You both can talk.
Oh, so,
one at a time.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I was just.
It wasn't an Elseworlds. And it sold so well that was what DC wanted. It sold so well that DC essentially made that into the Dark Knight that we all know. And I always thought that was a mistake. That was such a mistake to make Batman into a raving lunatic. It was a mistake. I know people hate the 66 show, but I mean...
I love the 66 show, but I'm okay with it not being the comic book Batman. It's a fun... whatever it is, you know what I mean? It's a fun TV show. But Chuck Dixon was saying that when he was, because he wrote the issue where Green Arrow got killed, and it was the editor told him what to do, and Chuck Dixon, he does what his boss tells him to do. And he said originally it had to be a trap, and Green Arrow was going to get his arm blown off, and it was going to set up him becoming the old Green. And then so Chuck Dixon had to come up with a trap that Superman wouldn't be able to save him, and so Superman was going to cut his arm off with heat vision to save his life, because you know, when it some dead man switch or something like that he couldn't release, otherwise it would blow up. So that's why Green Arrow was mad at Superman and blah blah blah. And then at the last minute they said just kill him off, and Chuck was pissed because he said he spent like a good part of a week trying to come up with the scene where and then just kill him. And I wanted to like Connor Hawke, and I did like the fact that he came from this monastery and he was uncomfortable around women. They did a good job of making him different. And
then they made him gay now.
Right. And then
now.
He said he wasn't gay. He was just uncomfortable around women because he was raised by monks. Yeah.
So anyway, the character's first appearance in a medium outside of comic books was in the Super Friends TV show that I used to watch when I was a little kid.
Oh, right.
And then later on, he came out in the Justice League Unlimited show for a few episodes. And obviously, what Marcus alluded to, the Arrowverse, the famous Arrowverse that lasted like 15 years. I don't know how long that stuff was, which gave birth to Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow and the Grant Gustafson Flash that I kind of watched because I like the Flash.
I did watch the first season of Supergirl, and I really liked it.
And the first season was good. The second,
and I forget why I stopped, but then I'm glad I did. Apparently, from what everybody told me.
By the third or fourth season, it was just like Michelle.
It was the gay show.
She was like the perfect Supergirl look.
And they committed to the bit. In the second episode, they were seriously talking about the Hell Grommet. Such a weird comic.
Yeah, well, there was comic book people in that, like in that place, and they went, it's CW, so they went woke. Eventually, got weaker and weaker.
Well, the first season was on network TV, right? And then it went to CW. Yeah.
Yeah, network TV wouldn't let them do it. CW, they went nuts. Actually the second season, but it was unbearable by the third season.
I've been neglecting the chat. Let's bring the chat into this. So Omnipro B wants to know, what do I know about Turok Dinosaur Hunter? There you go. That's the guy to ask right there.
But I mean, we can add him. I mean, he did use a bow and arrow, but he wasn't like a superhero. But we can talk about
American. That's kind of like a trope, right?
I'm sorry?
It's a trope. It's a Native American. They all use bows and arrows.
See, I didn't even know that. I don't know anything about Turok Dinosaur Hunter. And Matt Barr lambasted me over that. He's like,
you didn't read any of the Valiant comics?
Fun lambasting. Don't take anything seriously. I don't know much about him, but I do know it was either Dell Comics or Gold Key Comics, right?
Gold Key.
Right, and it had painted covers that were beautiful.
Beautiful painted covers.
I said this the other day. I forget who I was talking to. I think it was RJ. this is how weird of a kid I was. Everybody back then had comic books, and everybody back then had Dell Comics, and Gold Key Comics, and Archie Comics, and Marvel Comics. But the Gold Key and the Dell, they had like painted covers, and they felt weird. And I hated them because they felt weird. I definitely had a thing like if you put a shirt on me and it had a collar on the back, I was like frozen. Like I couldn't move until my mother would come and rip the collar. I was a weird kid, now. So like I couldn't touch those comics. So I never read Turok Dinosaur just because touching it.
That's the thing. You missed a really good. Are you a fan of Russ Manning art?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Russ. Can you tell?
His Magnus the robot fighter.
Russ Manning.
Beautiful.
The covers were great. I just the tactile sensation freaked me out.
I have like a fake omnibus of it, a couple of them back in my back closet here of Russ Manning. They're awesome. The stories are, like they're kind of simple, but it's just beautiful. And I talked that guy Kevin Wolf into posting Russ Manning Tarzans because I'll collect them in my Pinterest. I really love that. That's like another classic.
So, anyways, I can mention Roy Harper. Roy Harper was essentially a Robin knockoff. He was a founding member of the Teen Titans. Later on, a kind of member of the New Teen Titans, sort of. He became a junkie thanks to Denny O'Neil. He had an affair with an assassin called Cheshire, I believe her name was.
Yeah, and he had a kid.
He had a kid with her, yes. And I mean, I don't really know much. I mean, he just sort of, he wasn't in the Longbow Hunters, really. So, I mean, he was just, and I never really read the Titans too much, but he grew up and he became, I think he was Arsenal. Yeah, I believe his name was. Yeah. And that's all I know.
Tripping on drugs, lose an arm again, beat somebody with a cat. I mean, I saw this issue one time. I'm like, oh my God.
And
it's like 2008. I'm like, oh my God.
Does anybody know if Roy Harper's daughter Leanne, did she grow up to become like an Archer superhero?
Well, in the Kingdom Come universe, she took over as the Red Arrow. That's what she became.
Also, DC had Arrowette, if you remember her from Young Justice.
Yeah.
No.
We haven't even talked about Hawkeye yet.
That's Marvel. We didn't even get to Marvel yet. Yeah, Arrowette
doesn't have as many Archers though.
Arrowette's mother was like an Olympic champion, if I remember correctly, who didn't quite do well or something. So she forced her daughter, and then when the Young Justice team formed, she like made her try. So she was just like a little girl because they were, it was Robin, Young Superboy, Impulse. So it was like young kids, and then Arrowette, and she was just a girl whose mother forced her to be a superhero. It was kind of interesting character.
That's interesting, actually.
Is there any other DC?
There was I just remembered one. She was an enemy of Wildcat, the Erwin Hasen Golden Age character, Ted Grant. Her name was the Huntress, the original Huntress. She was the crossbow.
Right.
So I mean, okay.
I remember her from Infinity Incorporated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but every superhero group has an Archer. Wildcats, I suppose, had one. I don't remember, and they're part of DC now. But I don't remember their Archer. But I don't remember anything about Wildcats. So there's that. I have good memory, but I don't remember that. Shh.
Somebody sent me a picture of Shaft, but I do like the name Shaft of the life. Yeah, Shaft with Youngblood, right?
Shaft today, though.
That I don't know. I know nothing of Youngblood.
I just know that whenever I'm trying to find that picture that somebody just sent me.
The idea of Youngblood as a media-created superhero team isn't a bad idea. It's just, I don't know what else to say because I don't want to talk about Image Comics because that it's a sore spot.
Image Comics, I will say, like the characters themselves, they looked good, and like I love the idea of Youngblood that they were media hero, darling superhero. The problem is they had no stories. That's the problem.
I love the idea that Rob didn't want to draw the bow because when you do the bow as an artist, that's kind of like you do the string. The string gets all wonky, like one's longer than the other, and you really got to pay attention. So he makes an archer without the bow. I think that's guts.
And he didn't like drawing feet, so he made these gigantic boots that just was like, how does this guy even move? Like, how does he not trip over his own boots?
I have to draw feet. I don't avoid feet. I just don't. I mean, sometimes I don't have them here, but I don't avoid them either.
So RJ Williams is at the fire station because he has a lifestyle to fund. So there we go. let's. You know what? Yeah, guys, just back his crowd fund because he has a lifestyle.
I did back his crowd fund.
Yeah, me too. Yes,
I backed that one. What else did I back this week? I backed Phil's crowd fund too.
And it's driving me nuts that RJ, what's the name of your comic, please? I'm embarrassed that I'm forgetting, but I forget everything. My wife has to remind me to zip up my
Orion. Phone. It's call sign Orion.
Call sign Orion.
Hold on, I'll look it up. I'll get it and I'll put it in.
I only know him from the games. Who is crazier, All-Star Batman or Moon Knight? Is All-Star Batman crazy? Was he crazy?
He was nuts. All-Star Batman was great. It looked nice.
I never read any of them.
That's the one who punched Robin and said, "I'm the goddamn Batman," right?
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
So anyway,
let me just finish up the chats and then we'll get back to the characters, Tony. I think all three of us might be slightly on the spectrum in a good way. Tony, you think you're slightly on the autism spectrum?
I wouldn't doubt it. You know, I wouldn't doubt it.
What about you, Mark?
No, I think I just somehow have a good memory. It sucked in school, though. I wish I had this memory when I was a kid.
I definitely was.
I just remember. Oh, you! I don't even want to talk about you.
I used to rock.
We could get a psychologist on here, and you would just be. There would be just a list.
We'll talk about Taskmaster when we get over to when we get to Marvel. That's a good one.
If you don't mind me saying so, I'm joking around, of course.
Arrowhead competed in the 2000 Sydney Games. I should have figured that Nick. Oh, by the way, Nick, this is Nick Phoenix. He has a comic called Screecher. I just got issue number 4, and I secretly read the script to issue number 5, so I know what's going to happen. And Phoenix read one of my scripts to my future stories. Oh, Helena Wayne as the Huntress. She's kind of an archer.
She had a crossbow.
So. Who remembers when RDJ was a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude? Yeah. And he don't come out of the character until he does the commentary for the DVDs. How's that for a deep cut? So I think the DC archers were covered pretty well. We're going to move over to Marvel.
Oh, you want me to mention to touch on Turok real quick, or you guys going to go?
Yes, I asked you, and then I interrupted. I'm sorry.
Okay, he came out originally in 4-Color Comics 596, 1954. He was created by Rex Maxon and Gaylord Dubois, and basically what it was is him and this little Native American kid called Andar. Basically, we're wandering through this valley. They go through this cave. They come out the other side. They're in a dinosaur land. It's like the land of the lost. Really neat stories, punchy little stories. Andar had both him and Andar used bows. They were crack shots. Later on, the series was reinterpreted under Jim Shooter for Valiant Comics. This time, he fought cybernetic dinosaurs, which was kind of cool. And I remember the N64, the Nintendo 64, Turok the Dinosaur Hunter video game that I adored when I was a kid.
So what cybernetic dinosaurs could Magnus Robot Hunter actually team up with them and have?
Yeah,
that was Bart Sears' store.
Mm-hmm. But there you go. That one's little. That's a little one. So there you go. I'll throw that one out there. Now,
see, I knew so little about him that I didn't know he was an archer.
Mm.
Well,
was it cool illustrations of dinosaurs?
I have this book back here, The White Indian. It's all the stories that Frank Frazetta did. Actually, the most comics he did, they do a lot of covers for it. And he's a White Indian. What does he use? He uses a bow and arrow. What do Native Americans use it?
Like a white man Indian?
Bow and arrow. Yeah, it's called the White Indian.
Ooh, John, I'll throw one to you. One of the most famous archers, Bard the Bowman.
Oh yeah, from Tolkien. Yeah, he's
Yeah, I mean, that guy made an incredible shot. So there, you can drop a little bit
but
for
he's not a
him.
comic book character. This is who's the best archer in comics.
Oh,
That's why
okay.
comic book's not really considered. So we're gonna go over to Marvel now. Marvel's got a
He's a
handful.
white
Oh, there you
Indian.
go.
Nice.
How about that?
Yeah.
You can't make this comic today. Look how many pages they did. It's all Frazetta. Sometimes inked by Williamson and stuff and Krankle. I mean, I haven't read it yet. I'm gonna probably read it, but it's insane.
Yeah, I got to read this. Where'd I put that Dick Tracy book?
Oh, Dick Tracy, that's another one. Oh, I love Dick Tracy.
I showed you already, but where'd I put it?
We could talk about Hawkeye.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk Marvel. I guess the first thing we're gonna talk about Hawkeye. Go ahead, Marcus. You want to
I
talk
don't
about
think there's that many other Hawkeye. 1964, Tales of Suspense 57. He was a super villain. He defeated Iron Man, but way back when Iron Man wasn't so strong, and you could defeat him. He had the melting arrows. He had all sorts of trick arrows, and basically he was who was he? He was a villain, and then he was in Tales of Suspense 60 and 64, and he wasn't really a villain. He was duped by the communist Black Widow. He had a thing for the Black Widow, and the Black Widow looked like a tradition, like she was coming off the movie screen, played by Sophia Loren or something with a mask and a dress and everything. She was much more of a communist manipulator spy than a superhero. And Hawkeye fell in love with her, and so he defeated Iron Man, and that's what he's at. But his actual origin is he was from Iowa, and when he was at a young age, he lost his parents in a car crash, and he was in an orphanage for 6 years. Him and his brother Barney Barton, Clint Barton and Barney Barton. The fact that they use Clint in those old comics is very daring, by the way.
Right.
Because the letters run together.
Right.
And they ran away to go to Carson Chronicle Traveling Wonders. And the swordsman took him under his wing as a young boy, as an assistant. And it developed with the help of another archer, Trick Shot. Swordsman trained Barton to become the master archer of that circus carnival. He did find Swordsman embezzling money from the counter, and he was beaten and left for dead by the Swordsman when he found the Swordsman embezzling money, and before he could turn him into Swordsman, beat the crap out of him. And then he lost his relationship with his brother and Trick Shot as well. And then he adapted his artistry to be the star carnival of attraction, a master artist called Hawkeye, known as the world's greatest marksman. So he's in the circus. Of course, he's in the Coney Island circus because they got to get him to New York City somehow, right? From Iowa, from the middle of the country. And he saw Iron Man, and he decided to become a costume hero. But he was taken in and fooled by the Black Widow and became a villain.
Right.
And that's the basic origin of Hawkeye, which almost nobody remembers.
Right. And then issue 17 of the Avengers, or 15, I forget which one. 17,
yeah.
Yeah, Captain America takes him, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver.
And that's it.
And they're four, or Captain America, and then three reformed villains. It becomes
they called them Cap's Kooky Quartet.
Which was daring at the time because they got rid of Thor, Iron Man, Giant Man and the Wasp. Were they big deals at the time? I mean, they weren't that big of a seller, but they got rid of their big names and replaced them with not only unknowns but villains. And then
villains, yeah. The Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were reluctant members of the
they were, even of the X-Men in their first appearances, they were kind of reluctant. So it works.
And Hawkeye was one of the heroes not created by Jack Kirby, Stan Lee and Don Heck.
That's right.
And what really drives people love his brash personality. He joins the Avengers and almost immediately clashes with Captain America.
Right. He was
because of the Stan Lee comic, so everybody kind of argues.
Right. In the early X-Men, they always had one guy who was always busted chops on the leader. They had Hawkeye busted the leader, Captain America.
Yeah, they really fought. He always thought he should be the leader.
And the X-Men, it was like the Beast and Iceman were busting Cyclops' chops.
Yeah, but it was more good natured in the X-Men than it was. They got in arguments. But Captain America did train Hawkeye how to fight, so hand-to-hand combat would not be a problem for him. And Captain America was strange at that point. Captain America was trying to get out of the Avengers to join S.H.I.E.L.D. to have a job. It was like the personalities. If you read the early Avengers, the personalities of the characters are not quite the same as you remember them from the 70s or 80s, right? But he was always the brash Avenger with no powers, went off on his own an awful lot. Yep. People liked his costume. I think his costume, particularly his headpiece, I think the artists like to draw.
Oh yeah, I might as well get a picture of Hawkeye. I'll get a Jack Kirby Hawkeye. Jack Kirby.
Yeah, and he was preternatural with the different. He had an engineering eye for all sorts of trick arrows. They weren't punching glove arrows. They were arrows that kind of made sense. He had a lot of blast arrows, a lot of arrows that exploded to light, sound, smoke. They traditionally swing across the city. He didn't really have ridiculous arrows, kind of like science-based arrows. But it was based on, he had a personality right away, just like all the Avengers. Scarlet Witch was demure with her great opera gloves. I love the opera gloves. Yeah. I should have given Poinsettia opera gloves. Maybe in another episode.
Well, I got more stories for.
I know. I was just thinking the opera gloves that come up to here, those are awesome. And that headpiece she had, they slimmed it down later.
What did I do? Yeah, this is issue 24. So you see all of them. I just wanted. I like this. You see Scarlet Witch in original costume. I liked Hawkeye because yes, he had trick arrows, but his trick arrows weren't like over the top hokey. He'll have like a drill arrow, or an arrow that like released a sonic scream or something like that. Like almost arrows that you could see in real life, whereas nobody in real life is having a boxing glove arrow or handcuff arrows like Green Arrow. So no secret for me. I always liked Hawkeye better because of that. He seemed a little bit more grounded, which is why I liked the Mike Grell version of Green Arrow is my favorite because he was more grounded. But back to Marvel, there was also Taskmaster, who was the best archer because he had the ability to see you move and maneuver and then copy those maneuvers. So I always wondered, like, could Taskmaster copy your maneuvers? But like, what if you changed your fighting style? Like,
well, that's how he got defeated.
What he saw, or could he copy it and then adapt it?
That's how he get defeated.
Like, yeah, Captain America would change his fighting style and trick him or something like that. What Tony?
The Golden Archer. Nobody remembers him from Squadron Supreme.
Right. Also, Hawkeye dressed up like the Golden Archer to convince Steve Rogers to become Captain America after he was Nomad. And the most ridiculous thing where he has a regular head and he takes off his mask and he has pointed mask, and only you could do in comic books.
Right, like kind of like Steve Rogers would put a jacket on and you couldn't see his shield.
You couldn't see his shield. That was a big Jack Kirby thing. What they did, I remember, and you would have what they ended up doing, like Mark Grunwald ended up doing, is what made him a commercial artist or a comic artist, and he'd have his shield in a giant portfolio. Well, at least that made some sense, right?
Yeah.
Instead of on his back, or the angel's wings.
Yeah, yeah, but they were flexible. So
that's right. The
Golden Archer is funny because the Golden Archer was the Archer on the Squadron Supreme, and the Squadron Supreme was Marvel's homage to the Justice League. So Hyperion was Superman, Princess Power was Wonder Woman, and the Golden Archer was Green Arrow.
And I have a very unpopular opinion, but I don't care. The Squadron Supreme miniseries by Mark Gruenwald is infinitely more better than The Watchmen.
Oh, I liked it better than The Watchmen. It was two things hurt it. I just reread it some years ago, I have the trade. Two things hurt it. One, Mark Grunwald really wrote a lot of words. I mean, geez. I mean, it was the opposite of the Mike Barron rule, right? That was one. Two, the fact that the artist, now all the art is good in it, but it changed. The artist changed like 3 times.
Right.
Like Paul Ryan, the inker changed. I think Bob Layton did an issue. John Buscema did 2 issues. They're all good artists, but it didn't have that one vision of art. Watchmen had the vision of Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. And it was before Watchmen. So Watchmen ripped off Squadron Supreme. If you go back and read that, now that I understand it better, they did some really rough things to Squadron Supreme.
Yeah, the Squadron.
I mean, they were real fascists, right?
They don't get enough credit for that story. It really was. I remember. I just remember Nuke. He was the Firestorm analog, and his parents were dying of cancer, and he begged Tom Thumb to cure the cancer, and Tom Thumb lied to him. You know what I mean? And then just fed him these false hopes because Tom Thumb was like, I don't want him to not like me. Right? Am I remember that correctly?
You remember that correctly.
There was stuff like that. I'm like, oh man. And I just remember like his heartbreak, there was a lot of good stuff. What's his name? Why can't Nighthawk, the Batman analog? He took Argonite. I remember that instead of Kryptonite, it was Argonite, and he was gonna shoot Hyperion with the gun. And he's like, I'm gonna save the world, I'm gonna save the world. And then he's like, I'm gonna be remembered as a villain. And I was like, is it the right thing to do? Does it matter if you remember it as a villain? Like it made me think like that. And I was like, what, 14, 15 years old when it came out? It was a really heady comic.
It took all the Stanley the regular people, they bicker to like, what would people really do? What would people in your crew do if they had the superpower powers of like the Squadron Supreme? Like, I mean, like in your world, they're going to eventually go nuts because the powers are going to make them crazy. But here is like, what if regular people had powers? What if they decided, if you were Superman, would you take over the Earth because you would know better because you'd have the superpowers? I mean, it's always
wasn't it there was a world war? Wasn't there like a world war at the beginning? So like there was dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's what made
the war was just like a run of the mill. We're going to take over. Like there really was. People were starving. People were dying of disease, like worldwide, more than normal.
Like now.
They were. It was kind of like desperate times. Yeah, I remember that. That was like comics were always political, and I wish I could remember how I felt. Like, who was I rooting for? Who were the good guys? Who were the bad?
It was my favorite thing that Mark Gruenwald ever wrote. Yeah, I never really liked Captain America too much, but I like that.
Always political. Mark Gruenwald probably skewed left. He wrote so many years of Captain America, but he liked Captain America. And he liked to have stories. And the stories worked on several levels. If the 10-year-old or 12-year-old reads it, he doesn't see the politics. He just sees Captain America having a good story against the villain. We might see, the president goes into his snake and how much did Grunwald hate Reagan in the Captain America in what was it, 300?
I got a question for you, Marcus. Didn't Clint Barton become Goliath?
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Halfway through another guy. Yeah,
that's right. You reminded me. That's right. So Goliath came back, Hank Pym, and Hank Pym got stuck at 10 feet, as we know. And one of the great things, the superhero gets stuck. Although it might be good for the Wasp. I don't know. 10 foot. Anyway, so Hank Pym had his usual mess, and he becomes in his craziness, he becomes Yellow Jacket, and he decides after he fought the Avengers and became super obnoxious and married the Wasp, he decided to stay Yellow Jacket, and Hawkeye's sitting here. I have no powers. What the hell am I next to Thor and next to Iron Man and even Captain America? And they let him use the Pym particles, and he became Goliath, which he was not that effective at Goliath either, because Goliath is just a super strong character.
No, I got one more thing to add about Hawkeye that nobody's added. He is one of the first physically disabled superheroes.
Right. Do you remember that? He went deaf.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So the thing about the film is Goliath is he grows up really big, and they wrote him like he didn't know what he was doing. He'd hit a building and knock over, and he did some good things. He was ineffective, and then in the Kree Skrull War, he ran out of pip particles, and that was it. Hawkeye was just a regular guy again in a great. I loved his gay costume, by the way. I love the costumes that had that have the hair on the top.
Yeah, like the Jim Lee Cyclops outfit.
Yeah, I do like that mask. Yeah, I like those masks.
I look at Cyclops with the whole body stocking covering his head, and all I can think of is, man, that guy must sweat.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. and then they dropped him. Remember the Kree Skrull War? They didn't know where Hawkeye was. They just let him. Fell to Earth somewhere, and they just forgot him. And he came back and he wore the most hippiest, weirdest costume that Barry Windsor Smith could create. And he came back to the Avengers, and then he left in a huff, and he joined the Defenders. And in the Defenders War, he was fighting for the Defenders instead of the Avengers. And he fought Iron Man again in that. And it's just like he was always in the Avengers for 10 issues, I quit. In the Avengers for 10 issues, I quit. And there's the famous scene where Gurich decides to add the Falcon and early DEI. Like, we were thinking about this in 1978 too, guys. Right. We're going to have a black guy in. And Byrne drew that great picture of Hawkeye slamming the table. What? He's not an Avenger. I'm an Avenger.
Right. He goes, his only power is flying and rapping with the birds. I remember
That's right, which was true. Although I like the Falcon.
And then he goes, minorities. He goes, what do you think superheroes are?
The funniest thing is, like, going back to that, like, they asked Jack Kirby once, what made you create the Black Panther? And he goes, well, it was that time we needed a black. That's how he said it. We needed a black.
Right.
So, like, different folks, different times,
Well, I wrote a story that's about a boxing superhero from the 30s. He's like a pulp inspired hero, and I said it in the 30s. The way they talk, I don't want to repeat it, but someday in my comics, he wrote the N-word. Yeah, well, in the 30s, when the mafia breaks into the gym and tries to set it on fire, they might use an N-word or
They
two.
might use that word, yeah.
But Zaid Comics, who's my buddy Phil Diaz over here, everybody check out The Man with No Strings. It's Marcus. I mean, I know you know, but Tony, check out this comic, The Man with No Strings. I think you would really, really like it.
It's a pre-order, and it's not expensive, and
right.
The art's really
he prints his own comics. And I have a secret project that's on again, off again, on again, off again, and I think it's on again now, full steam, maybe faster than I expected. So I showed it to somebody, and somebody said that's got to be on newsprint. So I rushed out to ask Phil Diaz if he could print it. So we'll find out. But anyway, he wants to know, and I'm going to ask Tony specifically, what do you think about the new Absolute Green Arrow?
About that.
I don't know. I don't really read the Absolute line. Could someone inform me, please? What is he gay? Is he a woman?
He's a gay woman, lesbian, midget.
Probably. Wouldn't doubt it.
He's a zombie of some sort, right?
Marcus, do you know anything about it?
I just saw the picture of him today. I didn't look into it.
I'm going to look it up.
Miniseries, I know that, and that I think that it has more to do with Black Canary, and Green Arrow is like, he looked kind of like a monster, like almost like a zombie. So if they would,
I always said I would have enjoyed the Absolute Universe if it was its own thing, if it wasn't just reskins of existing characters.
I think so. I mean,
my buddy Tonic Bowl. Oh, I'm sorry, Marcus. I didn't mean to talk.
No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
My buddy Tonic Bowl did a review, and he says he bought Absolute Comics, and he says the whole thing is it doesn't stand on its own. It only works as a reaction to what you know. Oh, look, instead of Commissioner Gordon, it's Mayor Gordon. Oh, look, Batman's a hulking giant instead of this. He's not, a detective. He's a brute. So it's, to me, it just shows that he's not a.
I think they ripped off Billy Tucci for Absolute Batman. Tucci has told the story a couple of times that he pitched a Batman like an Elseworlds miniseries thing of he called it Blue Collar Batman. So think about what a blue collar Batman. That's what this guy is. He's just some sort of engineer guy. He doesn't make a whole lot of money.
But
And
what?
then all that Billy had all that going on. Like this is like 2004.
And Nick over here says, all pros know that you don't wear purple.
Well, not to get into the purple thing, but he was created to be a villain, and Stan Lee.
Well, it was
The
masculine.
villain's word did have the secondary colors. That's
But
why.
the quote was, all pros know that masculine characters don't wear purple. And then they quickly changed it to heroes, but it was masculine.
No, my thing was not masculine characters. My thing is just hero, the Stan Lee rule. You know what I'm saying.
Right.
Whether you wear purple or not, I don't care.
But the Phantom wore purple, the first. But so he got shot in the head and came back as a zombie. Okay, so that explains this image.
It was a zombie. All right, I was right.
So,
okay.
So what does being a zombie have to do with Green Arrow? I don't know. So is this absolute Batman? Absolute Green Arrow? Come on, John. Learn how to work a computer.
Nobody can work.
Can he still shoot a bow and arrow, or does he just eat people's brains? Who knows?
Don't know yet.
You got to buy the comic. So is this him?
I don't know.
Excuse me. I've been trying to get this out all night.
Phil's going to have to explain this to us.
I don't know. So the answer to your question is I don't know, Phil. I don't know anything about it. If you want to come in, if anybody wants to come in and talk, remember, this is an open invite show. I know it's the Tony, Marcus, and John show, but people are allowed to come in.
Yeah, right. Well, when I'm done with the public eye, I'm definitely doing a pub character with Tony. Tony's got to start writing it now, though.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be on it right away.
There you go. Tony, do you ever have any desire to write a character?
I've never really thought about it. I should. I gotta get a look at a script and see the kind of format. I've never really wrote a comic book script.
I'll send you one of my old scripts that's already published, but I just made it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was just like, okay, I never looked at a format. I never looked at
your format is fine.
Right. I just was like, okay, this is page 1, panel 1. This is how I'm going to describe the panel. Panel, panel 2. This is how I'm going to describe the panel. And then, okay, I think I need to change pages here. It makes sense. Like, it's just a feeling I have. I don't have any rules.
No, you it's fine. If it was, I would ask you questions. I don't ask you any questions.
And then I listen to the artists.
Like everybody else.
They want to change anything around.
I added a panel in here. We'll show you again when I do it. I have the pencils pretty much done.
One guy that I work with,
we'll go through that later.
One guy I work with, I sent him a 13-page script. He said to be back a 24-page comic.
Well, I'm not doing that.
I was like,
comics is too much work, man. This to argue about. This is crazy.
I use my own format for my comic scripts. Right, Nick. I like I said, Nick and I have swapped scripts to talk to each other. One script that I was having a lot of difficulty with, and it's funny because Nick read a script that I'm having difficulty with. Other people, and all three of them said almost like completely different things. Nick had this suggestion. Aaron Sparrow had another suggestion. Brian Christow had another. And I'm just like, that's what I realized. You kind of got to go with your gut. Like, I'm not dismissing anybody, but it's funny because if it was that glaring, then all three of them would have said it. But like this guy's criticisms didn't mention these two guys' criticisms, and this guy's criticism. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, my format looks like Nick's format.
There's two different. There's a full script. And it's like almost three different scripts. There's a full script with a lot of description. You're kind of in the middle. You give some camera description and some not. And then there's the plot, which has no dialogue. I worked from that too. That's not the artists are afraid, but you just have to. Each paragraph is the page. That's how it is. And now, if you're Chris Claremont, your plots are the same amount. You're not supposed to be like that. But it's nice to have the dialogue because I know what the characters are going to say. You know what they're going to be. They don't talk a lot in this. John doesn't write a lot of dialogue, so
I try to keep the dialogue limited, and then I also know that once I get like Marcus's page, once I get the ball, like he said, he added a panel.
Only one. It was a panel. I think it's on page 3 where Poinsettia is supposed to look at the he's doing the sweeping kick, right? and Poisette is supposed to be staring at him, but instead, I didn't want to put a big background on that. I wanted to have him really big.
Yeah, but that's my
and
point.
So I split her off, and so the next panel is her looking at him, and that's it.
That's my point. Is I understand that all the dialogue is just so you can understand what's going on. It's going to be rewritten.
So if you don't like it, I don't think you'll have a problem with it. But
you know what I mean. Once I get the finished page, I rewrite all the dialogue anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really just a place so the artist kind of knows what to draw. But anyway, this has nothing to do with artists. But Tony, if you ever want to write a script, not that I'm Mr. Be All End All, but
Hawkeye became a movie star, but that's the ultimate Hawkeye. Like, I did read the first Ultimates, I didn't read the second one, and they zooped him up. I mean, like, everybody in the movies has some kind of like superpowered, even Hawkeye. I mean, he can't do those things, and even in the comics, he never did things as crazy as that.
I like the MCU Hawkeye, even though he was missing the mask. I like that actor.
I can see why they don't want the mask. They come off anyway. What's the difference? The actors don't want the mask on.
I didn't like how they replaced him with that chick. Did that happen?
No, I didn't like that too much.
I never read it.
Marvel doesn't have. I don't feel like Marvel, other than Captain America, does not have legacy characters where they get replaced.
One of the things I really don't like about Marvel is they just like, oh, I'm also Green Arrow, or I'm also Hawkeye. Oh, I'm also Wolverine.
Oh yeah, they'll have like 3 Hawkeyes. Yeah, I don't like that too
much.
With
the exception of Green Lantern, and yes, it even bothers me on Green Lantern. Like, okay, Green Lantern is space cops. We just need one on Earth. Why does Earth get 27, but Taurus 14 only gets 1? You know what I mean? There's one on Earth at any time. That's the only exception, unless you're from like a corps of Space Marines or something like that. There's one superhero. I don't like that there's 20 Spider-Mans. I don't like that there's the 50 states of Captain America, and there's one. We got our gay Captain America. We got our Muslim Captain America. Does Muslim Captain America impose Sharia law? So that means he doesn't defend the Constitution. But anyway, I don't like that. So yes, Tony, there was a female Hawkeye. She just called herself Hawkeye, and
she wasn't named by him or anything. They weren't friends. No,
she was some like rich girl.
I don't even know.
I didn't watch the TV show.
I didn't watch the TV show. I'm just talking about the character in the comics. And then she just decided that she's Hawkeye, and then they just give her access to the Avengers Mansion.
I feel like that she's not needed in some of those characters, like, because it depends. Somebody can make a good story out of any character, Like Jack Kirby said, there are really no bad characters.
Right. You can make.
So there's that, but yes,
you can make a good story about any character. Yes, sometimes it's harder, but with talent and effort, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel replaced all those. They DEI'd the Avengers at the exact same time they had the movie. So you go and I want a Hawkeye comic, and Hawkeye's a chick, and then that's a disaster. The one other movie that they could have traded in on selling comics, because the only one before was Batman '89. Other than that, the movies never ever sold a comic. That were the Avengers. The first Avengers movie would have sold the comics, and the comics weren't there.
Yep,
they weren't there. The characters weren't there.
Nick says every comic writer needs to let the characters, shut the F up. I agree with. Again, I'm a rookie. I I only have 2 comic books out. I'm a rookie, but like during the eternal "what is better, art or comics" debate, I'm satisfied with.
You're fair.
Like if Marcus is drawing the public eye beating up Thug Number 4, and then Dr. Doom shows up and he's beaten up, and there's no words, that's still my writing. I wrote that script. I wrote those
posters.
You wrote
the script. I didn't make that up.
And Marcus is drawing it. So like I got my ego satisfied. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to put, and lo and behold, the brass lights of the sky shone upon the public eye.
Well, not everybody can. Stan Lee could do that, but not all these writers could do that,
Right. So let the room, like I said, I respectfully listened to Mike Barron, but I disagreed with him. But now I'm starting to see the wisdom that use the amount of words that is necessary, not to.
Although I have that Nexus Scourge with Kelsey Shannon. I did feel it was kind of underwritten. It could have used a little more dialogue.
Okay.
because it was kind of it was kind of like what is going, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Armando's this big thing, and I don't want to say how he beat him because that's a huge spoiler.
I
Could have
it.
used a little more.
I'm rereading all my Nexus comics because there's so many details that I forgot because I literally read them when they came out. I have a big stack, and Scourge is at the bottom, so it'll be a while before I get.
But I don't feel that way about Private American or Bronze Star or Sherlock Holmes. I have all those books. Sherlock Holmes is wordy for a Baron comic because Sherlock Holmes is
Sherlock Holmes. If you're not making a wordy Sherlock Holmes, you're not doing the character right.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, and that other book that he sent me, that was a terrific story.
Which one's that?
It was the one, I forgot the name now. I have to look. He did it years ago. He sent it to me for free because I got like 3 Sherlock Holmes copies, and I tried to connect Chris Browley because he's the guy who does all the work for Mike. And Browley's protected. You can't DM him, but I DM'd Mike, and he gave me his address, and I sent him back, and he sent me a free comic. I have it in the stack. I don't know where it is now. He's going to do another. He always has the next version, but it was a very interesting comic. I'll post it maybe later so that you'll see.
Okay.
Very nice. I met him. He's in person. I had dinner with him at Heroes Con. We talked about music, going to concerts. He's a really nice guy.
I'm trying to. I was just talking to my wife tonight about logistics for Heroes Con. So I want to try to get to Heroes Con this year. I do have vacation time. The New Year's crossed. I paid up all my time off for my injury, so everything's back to normal. So maybe I can actually start doing conventions.
You should do cons.
Yeah, I would like to. And all my friends from New York go down, but they fly down because they all got kids, so they don't. But I don't want to take boxes of comics on an airplane.
Yeah, there's I know that the Marshall Strong guy goes down. I think I saw him. I didn't meet him, but I think I saw him.
So anyway, let's get back to Archers so I can go to bed. Excuse me. So I want to say this before we talk about who's the best one. What are the best feats that you could think of off the top of your head for these Archers? Because that to me is going to deter. I mean, it's no secret Hawkeye's my favorite. I like Hawkeye because he's brash. I like Hawkeye because he's self-made. He limits the gizmos and gadgets. He speaks his mind until they made him Brooklyn hipster Hawkeye with the Matt Fraction series. But up until then, he was picking up chicks, arguing, spoke his mouth. I tend to think he was more conservative, especially when he was Mr. Anti-DEI in Avengers 181 and 180 and 181. So I always liked Hawkeye. But anybody got a good feat that any of these Archers put? My favorite.
Hawkeye, they had each Avengers artist decided to draw, like George Perez, I think, did the one where he defeated the Collector. And then John Byrne had that great issue where he took on Deathbird by himself.
Yep.
And that's like the greatest Hawkeye issue in history. I mean,
for me, it's
nobody do that costume better than maybe Sal Buscema than Byrne.
That was Avengers like 201 around there or something.
I'll look it up. I have it here.
Yeah, that is I forgot about that issue.
That is like
that issue literally starts out with Hawkeye looking at Playboy magazine holding a beer. I mean, he was just like
because he wasn't an Avenger at the time,
right?
He got a job as a security guard in his costume,
right?
Because they used to do everything in their costume.
At work, looking at Playboy, drinking beer.
In his costume, they used to have the Avengers would sit down and have dinner with Byrne was drawing it and Perez too, and you'd see them, and they'd be eating in their costume. Even Iron Man with his mask. Now they never wear their costumes, and they're having coffee. They could be anybody, which is ridiculous. They're superheroes. They might as well wear that goddamn costume.
So, Tony, what are you trying to say?
For me, my feat for Ollie would be an old man Ollie, one-armed Archer, basically taking care of Superman so that Batman could work him over and get all the glory of fighting him. Because without the kryptonite arrow, Batman couldn't touch him.
Right.
So that would be.
And I remember it was like a crystal, and when it hit, it made dust. So
Superman exploded, yeah. And he got the bow with his teeth. Remember? It he was upside down.
Upside down from a lamppost, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So that was an impossible shot. Impossible shot
It
right
had
there.
to be far enough away so that
Mhm.
Superman wasn't zeroing in on him too. Yeah, that was a good one.
What I loved about Ollie was he showed like a character arc. He started off as this wastrel, this layabout, and through cunning and through necessity, he reinvented himself as a hero. He gave himself a purpose in life. Now, later on in the 60s, when Denny O'Neil was like, oh, he made him lose his business and his money, and he became the Green Arrow on a permanent basis. I like the earlier version of that and Mike Grell's version of that. I kind of ignore the middle part of it, though there were some decent moments, like every time he would fight Merlin. But I like the character arc of the Golden Age one and the character arc and revitalization of the 80s.
I gotta ask you now that you made me think of it: is the Golden Age Green Arrow and the modern Green Arrow, are they the same person?
Earth 1, Earth 2. Earth 1, Earth 2.
Well, they didn't really. That one was also part of Seven Soldiers of Victory.
Yes.
Because they're never used that much, they're super cool.
And that's a great team to talk about. You had the Crimson Avenger and Wing, the original vigilante who was a cowboy, the Wing
who rode a motorcycle.
Yes, the Shining Knight and his horse, Winged Victory.
Right.
Yeah, that was some good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it always was one character, but I think they editorially split them up later on, right? Or am I misremembering?
Apparently, the way the JSA worked was the JSA was essentially a way to showcase characters that weren't selling a lot. That's why whenever a character would start to sell more, he would graduate from the book and be like a part-time member. That's why Superman and Batman were part-time members. See? So when the Flash
just got rid of Superman because there's no really need for the rest of the team.
No, it's because he didn't need to be at the book, right? So that's why when the Flash got all Flash comics and he started to sell, he left after issue 8. That's it. So it was like that. So the editors at the time was like, well, we don't want to make the team too big, so they split it. So you had the also runs with the Seven Soldiers of Victory. And they were in leading comics, Star Spangled Comics. They lasted good 20-issue run. They were good stories. They were really good.
Yeah, I always liked them. I got some. I think I got some like dollar Batmans in there collected of them.
Did you know, John, that Frank Frazetta worked on The Shining Knight?
Yes, I did know
That's
that.
right, he did.
Yes.
Good stuff. Now, in the 90s, Grant Morrison kind of crapped all over him with his version of the Seven Soldiers of Victory, where you had Frankenstein there, and it's just not my thing.
Grant Morrison always starts out strong, and then like he did a series called Multiversity. And I picked it up because there was a Captain Marvel Shazam issue. And I just picked it up because I love that character. And I love that issue. And then I found out it was like a 12-issue series. And each issue was different. So I bought that was like issue 4, but I didn't know that. So I bought all the previous issues. And I bought them. And then I sat down and read it. And by the time it was ending, like it started out so good. And the ending, I was like, I hate this. I hate this so much. But
Grant Morrison to me is the epitome of overhype. I do not like Grant Morrison.
I like Grant Morrison. Like if you read his Animal Man run, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, his Animal Man run
was amazing. But I think like Alan Moore and another guy like Steve Gerber, I think they work better when they have an editor guiding them.
Oh, like, Steve Gerber.
If you give Grant Morrison, he has the aura and whatever use the superstar stat. You're not going to have some editor from DC who's been working there for 7 months telling Grant Morrison what to do. Like he needs a Denny O'Neil, somebody who's indentured. Is that the right word? Tenured. You know what I mean? Who knows what he's doing, confident enough to give him the right advice. To this is not a good story. This is not a good story. Anybody can make a weird story. but you need to pull it together.
Steve Gerber created Thunder the Barbarian, though.
And he did?
Yep.
I didn't know that. Oh, my
I
shoulders.
thought that was Jack Kirby.
Designed by Jack
Jack
Kirby,
Kirby was one-
but
yeah.
it was Gerber came up with Thunder.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
it was Avengers 189 with that cover of like everybody's tried to draw that it's like the classic Hawkeye story. That, and then 172 was the George Perez version where he defeated the Collector by himself, one of the Elders of the Universe. Like they would always do that. He was a big part of the Giant Size X-Men 1 by Dave Cockrum. That was a huge story with him in it too. Each artist wants to do a Hawkeye story. Maybe not like Sal Buscema or somebody, Bob Brown, but like the guys like Cockrum and Byrne and Perez, they all liked Hawkeye.
Hawkeye was likable, man. He, like, when we were kids, everybody liked Hawkeye. He was like,
well, you could be Hawkeye. It's like even more than Batman. Anybody can learn how to art. They had archery in school when I was a kid. You could take it as a gym class.
my high school had a gun range.
Oh, well, my school had a gun range. I don't know if they still do. It had a gun range too. Yes, it did.
What he's trying to say, Tony?
Didn't he lead the West Coast Avengers?
Yes, he
Right?
did.
Yeah,
Englehart liked him, and Stern liked him, and he became the leader of the West Coast Avengers.
And
West Coast Avengers made so much sense. East Coast and West Coast, right?
I thought that was a good idea. That was a good
good.
run. I keep forgetting that as a John Byrne run. I forget that John Byrne took that over.
Well, when you do your Avengers thing, you'll get to it.
Yeah, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it at midnight. You know?
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, maybe you could do every other, like you've been so many X-Men, maybe you can like, okay, this is Avengers week, this is X-Men week, but I don't know how your mind works for that. So,
You know,
and to answer your question, John, earlier, I did read Alan Moore's Supreme, and I loved it. I
good.
loved every bit of it. It was such a great book. It was almost like an apology. Alan Moore's apologizing for destroying Western superheroes. Yeah,
it was.
That's what I said.
That's Tom Strong.
Alan Moore gets a lot of grief. Now read Tom Strong, because that's his.
I love Tom Strong.
That's his homage to pulp heroes.
The only problem with Alan Moore is that there's got to be some weird sexual deviancy in someone, like Tom Strong's daughter, who might be underage, is sleeping with an alien. And then his wife is sleeping with somebody else. The Jerry Ordway Strong is always something, it's never, it's always something in his book, but you gotta accept it.
John, have you read Lost Girls?
I know all of that. I've read some of it. Yeah, not all of it.
Yeah, you're gonna love Lost Girls, John.
Yeah, I mean, this is what he does.
At this point, there's 2 Alan Moore stories that I haven't read. Lost Girls, because I keep forgetting about it, and Alan Moore has a 12-issue Lovecraft series called Providence.
That one's interesting. That one's really interesting.
It's stack, and I keep forgetting it's here in the stack, and I keep saying I'm going to pull it to the top. And then I could say I think I read everything Alan Moore has read as far as comic books.
And I'm not picking on Alan Moore. That's just an Alan Moore thing. It doesn't age well, especially these days where everybody's so sensitive to all that, for good reason, by the way, as I always say that.
I'll say that Taskmaster can't be the best archer in the world because he could only copy Hawkeye, who's the best archer in Marvel. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love Taskmaster.
Right.
Did anybody see what they did to Taskmaster in the MCU? Did anybody watch that cheesy Black Widow? I did.
I had the page on my wall in the kitchen of from Marvel Team Up 103 with the Taskmaster fighting Spider-Man, where Spider-Man has to hug him because the Taskmaster's copying everything, has to like bear hug him, by Jerry Bingham and Mike Esposito, from the 81 on for years. I love because I like the Taskmaster just because of that.
Okay, so I want to say my favorite feat from Hawkeye is I know everybody's going to talk about when he shoots Ant-Man, on the arrow, and that's cool.
Oh, that's a good one too.
And Marcus, you probably remember because you're more Marvel than Tony, but there was an issue, and I think it was in Solo Avengers, there was a solo Avengers, and they would split it. There was always Hawkeye, and then the second half was a lesser known Avenger. But in this issue,
my friend,
Hawkeye was teaming up with Spider-Man, and there was a device on the roof that was controlling all this. I think it was making everybody crazy. So Hawkeye was his senses were being messed up with, and he fired an arrow blindly, guessing where the sound, like, okay, all the sounds over here, and he's doing the angles in his head, and he shoots this arrow like a city block, and then collapses unconscious. He succumbs to his wounds, and when he wakes up, everything's saved. And he says to Spider-Man, "Did I hit it? Did I hit it?" And Spider-Man's about to answer, but Hawkeye is delirious, and he says, "I have to hit it. I have to hit it." And then he goes, "Because I'm on a team with Thor. Thor's a god. Captain America is the perfect human being. Tony Stark, he invented this armor." And he's just listing all the Avengers. And he goes, "I'm just an archer, and I have to train every day just to be worthy to be on this team." Like he's like the truth is coming out. How he's always braggadocious, but it's all from insecurity. He goes, "And if I didn't make the shot, what good am I?" And Spider-Man goes, You hit it. You hit it. You got it." And he goes, "Oh, good." And then he collapses again. Meanwhile, he missed. But Spider-Man couldn't let him.
I remember that. Yeah, I do remember.
And
that.
I thought that was so good. And that just made me like Hawkeye, because here he is, Mr. Braggadocious, the man's man, looking at Playboy, drinking beer at work with a cigarette in his mouth, just the coolest guy. And then because of this device that just effed him up, and then the beatings that he saw, because he's trying to get to it. You know what I mean? Him and Spider-Man are clearing the way, and then he takes the shot because he knows he's about to collapse for blood loss or whatever. And that's he's like, if I don't get the shot, what good am I? And I just like that. Like I always have a weakness for like the superheroes that have a logical vulnerability. Like if you are the archer superhero and you miss, why are you on my team then? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
And I will give shout outs to Bullseye, who impersonated Hawkeye for a while in the Dark Avengers. But to me, the specialist is always best. Hawkeye only fires arrows.
Well, Bullseye's a whole other issue. Bullseye can make anything a weapon.
Right.
He could take this pencil and take my eye out from 20
I think Bullseye is so cool. How many times did you throw cards at your friends as a child to pretend you were Hawkeye?
The fact that they made him use cards is really cool.
Yeah. So
I love the Solo Avengers. I love the Solo. My friend did work in Solo Avengers, I think. So I don't know what issue.
We're going to go around. So obviously, I think it's Hawkeye. Marcus, who do you think?
I like Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
I think Hawkeye I think he's probably a better fighter. Like just even a hand-to-hand combat. He's trained by Captain America. We don't know who trained Green Arrow. I mean, we do. Like if Mike Grell Green Arrow, then he might be more brutal and might win. But if it's a superhero Green Arrow, then I'm taking Hawkeye.
The Golden Age Green Arrow was indeed trained by Ted Grant. He was. I don't remember who trained the Silver Age Green Arrow. I don't remember who trained the Mike Grell Green Arrow. I don't think he ever really said it.
They never had a story, I think.
So
probably all Ted Grant, because they merged it all after the crisis. Yeah.
That's one thing. Aquaman and Green Arrow, because they survived through. They called them Earth 1 and 2, but they really didn't have an Earth 1 and Earth 2.
No,
they didn't really bother with that as much as say Superman and Batman.
Well, the Golden Age Aquaman was he was a completely different character called Adam Waterman.
Right,
really?
That's right.
Yeah, it's a completely different character.
Really? I gotta look that up. I never heard that before.
Adam Waterman, look it up.
Adam Waterman, lawyer for the superheroes.
There was a story arc in the 40s where he actually went to school and studied oceanography. I'm not even kidding you. He went to college. Anyways,
that's actually pretty funny.
Oh yeah. So, anyways,
I gotta look up while you guys are talking about this. I never heard this.
For me, it's Green Arrow. Green Arrow is the better archer. You're right about Hawkeye. He was trained better with hand-to-hand combat by the captain. He knows how to use sword play and stuff from the swordsman. But as an archer, on the basis of archery, solely on archery, I would have to give it to Ollie. I would have to give it to Ollie. Ollie is the best.
Okay, I could see that. Sure.
I'm not seeing any Alan Waterman. Am I spelling it wrong?
Let me look it up for you.
I got to look him up. See, I love
I
this.
know they changed his origin for the Silver Age.
Okay.
That Aquaman early.
And as far as Ted Grant concerns,
here I'll show you. There's a video about it. Adam Waterman. Look up, John. Look up. Casually Comics is the channel, and she covers it. Adam Waterman, the complete adventures of the Golden Age Aquaman. She could explain it a lot better than I can.
About Ted Grant, though, you know that he has the power to have 9 lives now, right?
Okay, that was post-crisis stuff. I don't know. The Golden Age Wildcat was just a boxing superhero that rode a motorcycle.
The Wildcat, I can put this again.
And he just
guys with a soft spot.
One at a time. One at a time.
Sorry, he rode a motorcycle and he just beat the crap out of people with his bare hands. That was his whole thing.
Remember this now. When this story does come out, I want you to say that's the character that John's homaging Wildcat.
Okay.
I have an homage to Wildcat. I've always loved Wildcat. Wildcat and the original Adam have 2 of the worst costumes that I absolutely love. I absolutely love that cat face mask. I love it so much. It's so bad. It's great.
Oh, I love those. Since I
actually knew the creator, I have a soft spot for him.
Yeah,
Erwin Hasten. I had him at School of Visual Arts.
Oh, okay.
He was a nice man. I met him. He was really cool. I had him
super nice guy. He's like this. He's this teeny guy, and man, he could get the women, boy.
I had him draw Dondi for my mom because my mom loved Dondi.
Dondi was in the Daily News.
I was going to give him $100. He's like, "No, it's for your mom. What's her name? Mary." He's a very nice, sweet man. Very cool.
Unlike a comic book artist, they're like, "Give me money, man. I'm broke."
He was a cool dude.
No, he was a comic strip artist. He had plenty of money. Like Dondi was a big. He was the war orphan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was actually written. I forget who wrote it, Bob Oxner or something.
But he did Dondi up until like almost the 90s.
Yes, he did. That's right. It was in the Daily News forever. If you got the New York Daily News,
I miss newspaper strips.
I do. Well, I read them online now. Like the guy posts online. I'm reading Spider-Man and Tarzan and Sawyer.
You posted the Conan strips for a while, right?
No. This other guy, Kevin Wolf. He posts all. I follow him. He posts all this stuff. He posts all the strips. He does a Conan. He's doing, Secret Agent Corrigan.
But anyway,
I read him online. I look forward to him every day.
So we have 2 votes for Hawkeye, 1 vote for Green Arrow, which kind of what I figured it was going to be when we suggested it. Anybody in the chat want to vote for this? And then what do you want to do next week?
I have an idea. You mentioned Sinestro. How about the greatest heroes turned villains?
Heroes turned villains. That's a good one.
All right, that's a good one.
I got like about 5 minutes to do.
Heroes. That's because normally we always have villains who turn good. Heroes who turn villains. All right,
I like that.
That's next week. Cool.
And then maybe one of these days we could do Squadron Supreme versus Watchmen, because I'd love to talk about that.
Watchmen's
They're completely different to the point. The only reason why we compare them is they came out so close to each other. They were both 12-issue miniseries. But to me, that's like comparing, apples and oranges.
Well, what was really interesting about Watchmen is that it came up during the professional show. I still watch that show because I know some of them, and none of them really liked Watchmen. They didn't like the art. They're like, this Dave Gibbons art, the 9 panels, this boy. These are all professional artists, like 30 years in. They didn't like that too much. I thought it was great. I thought art was. I like Dave Gibbons.
I love The Watchmen, but I will say the movie's ending is so much better.
Yeah, well, they all said that the movie ending
is so much better.
But they didn't like comic. Like we read a lot of comics, but comic pros don't read a lot of comics. They don't have any time. Like when you're actually working for Marvel or DC, reading comics is not something you get to do.
I imagine
they didn't like Watchmen that much. They just didn't like the art that much. And I'm like, really? Everybody just
who did the art for Squadron Supreme?
They didn't talk about Squadron Supreme.
No,
I think
who was the artist? You mentioned
the art. I don't remember. It was decent art.
Yeah, the art was Paul Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
With the Doug inkers, like Jackson Geis inked one. Paul Ryan's really solid. And then I guess it was a fill-in with Bob Layton did a fill-in. And then John Buscema did like 3 issues. John Buscema, Jackson Geis. And then Paul Ryan came back. I think Bob Hall did a couple issues. It was a mixture.
They had so many artists, yeah.
Yeah, well, that hurt the thing that it's hard to be a classic run if its art changes. Even though they're all good artists and well told story, it's still not the same as that one vision. Like Grunwald and Paul Ryan, Grunwald and Paul Ryan at DP7, 36 issues, right? It's all the same artist. It makes a big difference. I think that's why it's not thought of as a classic, because even though those are great, like if he did it all with John Buscema, it'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, it is really good. That is really good. Maybe we should do Squadron Supreme versus the Justice League.
No, that'd be a good one. No, man, that'd be good.
All right, so I'm going to call it a night because I'm getting sleepy. So we'll start with Tony. Anything you want to say to take us out?
Yeah, just buy Heroic Tales, watch Marcus draw stuff, and have a good night, everybody.
Marcus,
okay, tomorrow I'm on the studio. Zach Marois is on. I think that's his name.
I mispronounced.
You had on earlier this week. I didn't see it. I don't know anything about it.
Sorry, I didn't see it.
It's on. I'm often asleep when it's midnight. I apologize.
Well, you got to go to work. It's Friday night.
Yeah, I'm up. I don't sleep that much.
For doing what you're supposed to do.
This is Zach's 3rd try at this character. So let's see if we can help him out. He's gonna be on tomorrow, and he's an artist. He'll draw.
You got to see his art. His art leveled up though.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of the new.
You'll see. You'll see.
And I know Vaughn Coleman's writing it.
Right.
And like Kayleen Andrian is editing it. So it's being I think it's being published by Joe Sontag. So he's got a lot of good. This one should work, I hope.
Oh, the art is outstanding. You got to see his.
Hey, he's a nice guy too. I don't know him.
I did it with him. He's a good guy. He's a real. Good
I know
guy.
Vaughn a little, and in person, and I know some point that friends, but I never got to meet Zach, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, I think I met him twice. He's a good guy. I'm not joking. You wait till you see the art. It's so good.
No, I can't wait. I'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna.
And then
marathon.
Heroic Tales 2 is still available on Fund My Comic. I just got another 2 pages done colored today. Oh my God, as much as Renzo's art is getting better and better and better, and Oscar's coloring. Oh my God,
Oscar's coloring is fantastic.
So good. I can't wait to see, because I talk about this a lot, but I'm so happy about it. I did a 12-page story for Bill Williams to be released in his comic book Punchline. Giant size Punchline sometimes this summer. I can't wait to get a physical copy, because that's not mine to do. Once he releases it, I have permission to reprint it in Heroic Tales. But,
that's cool.
Yeah. Bill's a good guy, but I did it for him, and I don't want to steal his thunder. You know what I mean? It involves his characters, stuff like that. So plus my characters will be in comic book stores. How cool is that? But anyway, I thought that was the best coloring ever until I saw the 2 pages today. Oscar, if you're watching this.
You posted one of them. That was really terrifically colored, right? Was that one of the ones you posted?
Yeah.
That was nice color.
Tony, you're not on Twitter, so you didn't see the page. But Marcus, if you ever see, like if I do, every once in a while I'll publish a full page.
I saw that page. Yeah.
Let me know if the storytelling makes sense. That's my biggest fear, is that anybody.
I won't really look. I'll look again. Yeah, I'll look. I'll let you know.
I got a couple of guys at work that I know are sick of it, but every time, because I'll be at work and all of a sudden I'll get a page and I'll show the guy next to, they're polite. And I go, tell
I'm
me what
never sick
happens.
of it. I
I
mean,
go, this
I
truck is
think
going over here, and this,
I read that story too, and I remember that scene.
and they're like,
Remember
this
that
truck
you
is doing
sent me
this,
that
this,
story, and I recognized it right away.
but they get it. All right, so I'm gonna go. Like I said, Patriarch number 1 is coming sooner or rather than later. We are gonna wait till it's complete. So that way, I'll look like Scotty from Star Trek. You know what? It's
Well, you've never been late, so
I'll tell people. I know, but I'm making you do the waiting up front, and then right away we're jumping into King Fu. And boy, do I have a really, not a stretch goal, but like a really cool add-on for that one. I just cleared it with Renzo. He thinks it's a great idea. And I'm purposely keeping you secret on that. And then I'm hoping one of 2 projects will be done shortly after that. So maybe three campaigns this year. That's what I'm hoping.
wow.
3 campaigns plus the comic that's going to be out in Bill Williams's comic. So there you go. Lot stuff is happening. All right.
Oh, excellent.
All right. See you guys.
Good night, everybody.
We're going to talk about heroes turning villains. All right.
It was a lot of fun, John. Thank you so much.
Good night. Go to bed, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Goodbye, kids.